Hey, we're Gail and Jamie from the band Laurel-O-Matic, and this is our podcast, A Different Road.
In this episode, we're talking about our song, She Says.
Hey, so we're talking about our song, She Says, that we released last summer. It's the second single we released, and Jamie wrote the single, so he's going to talk us through the process and the inspiration behind it.
This song is like a personal story, so if you read the lyrics, it kind of tells about situations that pop up due to my well-documented short attention span. So kind of wrote it on after yet another example in which I don't usually pay attention when people talk, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I think that, listening through it, you might not realize right away. And of course, I love that about music, that everything's open to however you interpret it. But talking about just Jamie's inspiration behind it, you might not immediately know what it's about, but it actually addresses ADHD.
So it's just kind of one of those times where you're sitting talking to somebody and you start drifting off a little bit and their words kind of fade out into like a soft, nice, gentle melody. And you're off in whatever space you created. It could be a butterfly. It could be the shapes of the clouds. It could be a lot of things, and it is. So it kind of like inspired me after this happening. I was like, I should write a song about this. And it goes through kind of what happens. She was talking about her day, something happened, all of a sudden I'm like, and I come out of it and I like zoom back in and all of a sudden I'm like, what? And like that what? Biggest mistake, because that is your giveaway that you have no idea what's going on. I need to think of a better word. Like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
But instead, what comes to mind and has always been my go-to growing up. My parents know that if I got paid $1 for every what I said, man.
And it's not a what like I didn't hear you, it's a what that I didn't process it. So if you're someone with ADHD or you love someone with ADHD, I'm sure you can relate. But
yeah, so I come to, I'm like, what? And that just echoes through, because as soon as you say that, you're processing of like, oh my gosh, I wasn't listening. What was the last word they said? Maybe I can make a sentence of my own that starts with that word. Nope, I can't. Gotta guess, right? So it's just about that situation.
Yeah.
And the chorus is just about like, she says she loves me, but, she means something else, meaning like, I just want you to listen, and then she says she bees with me, like is with me.
I think you invented a word there, by the way.
I did. Trademark.
Yeah.
But I know she's somewhere else, which is a jest on the fact that I'm somewhere else, but it's my world that I'm in. So
Yeah.
She's just kind of floating off when I'm really the one floating off. So that's kind of like the inspiration behind the lyrics on that one.
The first time I read through the lyrics that Jamie wrote, I was, a little unsettled that he thought that I needed something else. But, after talking through it, I understood more that, the perspective that it was coming from. And of course, he is enough just the way he is. And his ADHD is a part of him. And again, if you love someone with ADHD, you love every part of them. And it makes him who he is. So.
Yeah. Whether you like it or not.
Yep,
that's
exactly.
the package. And then musically, I just wanted to put something together that was fun. A riff that kind of just jumped around, felt distracted, kind of bounced around. A bass line that kind of like follows its own path, really, but still is connected to the story. So that was kind of like fun to put those things together of like, how can I tell this story, but also represent it musically and get across the idea that this is like a dreamscape without getting all ambient on it and, throwing in organs and stuff like that. And,
it's definitely
different sounds.
A lighthearted take on certainly a serious subject, but, you have to laugh sometimes and just roll with the punches. So I like that it's this fun, upbeat, like I said, lighthearted take on this topic. I also really love the bass line that Jamie wrote for this one. I think it's just fun, and I love how it bounces along. I don't know what inspired you it just came to you?
Yeah, it just, the guitar is so straightforward. It's got a little overdrive on it. It's got a lot of reverb, for that dreaminess. And I just kind of wanted a bass that kind of thumped along in a fun way that was just like hopping from place to place. Boom, boom,
It
ba-dum,
really
boom,
does.
boom.
I feel
boom.
like it, at least for me, it gets stuck in my head. I really like it. It's just fun and it fits well with the song, I think.
And I really wanted just kind of like a head nodding kind of song.
Yeah.
Where I just like, yeah, I feel this. I feel kind of the driving force behind it. And it's fun to see how something that isn't necessarily just, quarter notes, same like dun 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 or whatever, that just drives forward. It's something that's fun, that bounces around on the neck of the bass, still have that kind of, I don't know.
Playfulness.
Yeah, playfulness to it. I like that.
Whimsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the music video came,
Yeah.
which we perfectly planned for July.
On what may have been the hottest day of the year. It felt like sitting on the surface of the sun.
It
like,
was awful.
One of those days where so we're in New Jersey, so lots of humidity in the summer, and you're just wet as soon as you step outside. One of those days. And we filmed it at Jamie's parents' pool. Second time filming a music video. Of course, it's just the two of us, amateurs, and we decided to film in a pool. Well, Jamie did.
Yeah. I dream big.
Yeah. At least we had the pool to cool us off.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I was so excited to get in the pool. I was like, all right, we'll do pool shots now.
Yeah.
Because by the time you were there, it was just, and we shot all around. We used a local park for some of the scenes.
Well, those were reshots.
Yes, they were reshots. Anyway.
Yeah, that was my fault because the heat makes me a little grumpy. So, and it was just not going well. Some of my shots we were kind of filming in like the bushes and trees and things around the pool, and that did not go well. So we reshot them in the park at a later date. Still pretty hot, I think, that day, but better.
It was in the shade a little bit.
Yeah.
But the story that it tells is just, I'm lounging in the pool, I'm in the grass, my head's in the clouds,
Yeah.
And it's the idea that I'm just kind of dreaming throughout the day. And Gail does lip syncing to some of the words, and it doesn't make sense because it's not her voice singing, but it's the fact of like, I'm in my own world and I know something's happening that I need to pay attention to, but I just can't enter that space. I can't jump into that space and focus on that space. So, I'm shooting underwater at her. It's like that distance between her. It's a little hazy in the one shot through a filter to show like, there's something going on and I'm not really grasping it. And then what I love is at the end, it kind of just shows what Gail was talking about earlier, is you just love the person for who they are. So we just jump in the pool together and we're singing together in the pool. And, it's just like, hey, it is what it is. You figure out ways to get around it or tools to deal with it or embrace it. And
Exactly.
that's kind of like the system. So that's kind of like how the lyrics turned into the music, turned into the music video. I feel like it really, all parts of it tell that part of the story.
Right. Yeah. And I love, dispersed throughout the video that I think there's a bee on a flower at the beginning. There might be a butterfly, some leaves blowing. So I think that those are nice moments interspersed, and definitely kind of like Jamie said earlier, like follow a butterfly around, those moments of distraction, but it is what it is. And that's the way the mind works, and that's okay. And I also like, the moment where I'm singing down into the pool, because I can just imagine, when you're in a pool, you can't really hear, it's muffled and you can't see right. So I just imagine that must be what it's like when your mind kind of starts to drift off in those moments. So, and I'm looking down at the pool trying to get his attention. I think that's a really good way to portray that.
Yeah, it's pretty spot on.
Yeah, at least what I can imagine.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the song.
Yeah, vocal wise, so no keys on this one. I think this is our only release of our releases and of our upcoming releases, more on that later, that doesn't have keys in it.
Yeah.
So no keys for me, and kept it real simple, just added a harmony on the chorus. So that was about it for my addition to this song. Jamie of course wrote everything else. So last week we released a lyric video for She Says. So I think sometimes it's helpful to actually read through lyrics instead of just listening to them. So if you're curious to kind of read through the lyrics and understand a little bit more of the story being told there, you can certainly check out the lyric video on our YouTube channel, Laurel Maddock. And then also next week we have a living room session coming out So we'll do an acoustic version of She Says. So I hope you check that out. And our other song is already up on our YouTube channel. We did a living room session of that one last week. So I hope you check out our YouTube channel if you have a chance. We're also, of course, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Everywhere is Laurel and Matic. Facebook is Ansign, TikTok and Instagram are Laurel and Matic. So please check us out and give us a like. We'd really appreciate it. And thanks for hanging out with us and listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it. We're, of course, on Spotify and Apple Music and Pandora and all the places. So thanks for being with us.